Guys, today I have to come and I have to correct my video from yesterday. I have to come and I have to apologize to the man that I claimed was clout chasing with his fight with Brother Nature, because this entire thing was not a clout chase. In fact, it turns out he wasn't even the one who really, I guess, started this entire thing. And there's some pretty solid evidence behind the entire thing here that we're going to be breaking down today. So, if you didn't get the chance to see my video from last night, it wasn't available for very long. I made a video talking about the Brother Nature videos that basically went viral on Twitter that showed him basically just being brutally assaulted by this guy and how he was bragging about it on Twitter and everything, and about how everyone basically thought this was a major clout chase. Because everyone was pretty much in agreement that this is what this looked like, because everyone knows Brother Nature, like his persona and everything on the internet, like he seems so unproblematic, you know? The guy just seems so genuine and nice and kind, and everyone who's pretty much ever talked to him has kind of backed this up. It never has seemed like this would be something that he would do, but then everything kind of comes out. Like there's interviews that come out. Brother Nature pretty much kind of made it out with the way he came through with things, that he was pretty much innocent in the whole thing. Everyone in this restaurant didn't come to his defense as this guy basically kicked the snot out of him, and you know, this whole thing was pretty much something he didn't really want to be involved in. But the way that everything turns out, that's not the case, folks. So I wasn't going to keep that video up, and now here we are correcting things, because obviously I'm not just going to leave that video up, and there are some things in that video I'm definitely going to stand by, and we will get down to that here in a minute. Now, the original, I guess, belief throughout this entire thing, the original story that everyone was kind of believing, at least, that was kind of pieced together here, there wasn't very much testimony and stuff given. The best that we had all pieced together by the time my video had gone out, really, was that the reason this whole fight basically had started was because Brother Nature had went into this restaurant around the time that it was closing, and he was ordering over the shoulder of the guy that he ended up getting into a fight with, and this guy did not appreciate that, and he got into an argument with him, and they got into a fight over it. Now, it turns out that's not what happened, okay? And it makes sense, and this is something that I completely overlooked, because in the video clip, he's clearly arguing with the management, and he would not really be arguing with the management if he was arguing with the guy himself. You know, it's something I overlooked, which is my fault. But with that being said, okay, the real story behind everything is that Brother Nature basically had left this club, okay, and he was kind of drunk, right? You know, he'd been drinking at this club and everything, you know, not really in the clearest mental state because of the alcohol. He comes into this restaurant, they're about to close up, okay? Now, they're still serving some of their patrons and the people eating in the restaurant up at the counter, at the bar, at the people sitting on the stools. They will not serve anybody sitting at the tables around the outside perimeter of the restaurant, because they've already cleaned all of these tables and they've put all the chairs on top of these tables. They will no longer seat anyone there. I think that's pretty reasonable. Obviously, he gets into an argument with the management about this because they're not going to let him do this. Well, apparently he tried, like, egoing these people. He said shit like, "Do you know who I am?" Stupid stuff like that, right? And by the way, this is all verifiable through multiple interviews. There's one that he did with Keemstar on Drama Alert. There's one that he did with Josh Pescator. I will link both of those down below in the description for you to go check out. So with that being said, you know, they tell him, like, you have to sit at the bar or take your food outside, or you have to go home, take it to go. So he's essentially just being belligerent with the management, he's being belligerent in this restaurant and everything, and that's when people start, like, talking back to him, you know? That's when everyone, you know, here in the story starts actually confronting him here in the restaurant, telling him to, like, you know, shut up and just take the food or, like, leave or whatever, you know? Because at this point, everyone's kind of getting sick of him, so apparently the guy who ends up fighting him is recording at this point, and a woman comes over and tells him to stop recording like she's his mom or something, and he does not, and she goes over and tells Brother Nature, who then comes over and, like, gets in his face and starts getting, like, extremely belligerent because he's recording, and he, like, starts screaming and shit and getting ridiculous because he's recording him acting stupid in this store, or I'm sorry, in this restaurant, and this, I guess, is when everything breaks down. Now, here's what Brother Nature probably didn't expect when everything happened. The security footage of pretty much everything here has been released. So what you just saw there, that security footage, is when the woman walks up and tells him that he's being recorded. And keep in mind, he's not like standing up, getting in Brother Nature's face and recording him. He's sitting down, eating and recording him. He's not causing like a major problem or anything. He's not challenging him. He's not really being that much of a disturbance. He's not being a Brother Nature disturbance in this situation. So then Brother Nature goes up and gets in his face. Okay, and that's when this guy gets up. And then Brother Nature goes over and starts, I think, challenging him to go outside and fight him, which is what this guy says actually went down. He says that Brother Nature, when being told to leave the restaurant, was challenging him to come outside, pussy, come outside and fight me. Which is pretty weird because everyone's like, oh my god, Brother Nature, he didn't want to fight, he didn't want to fight. And this guy even said that Brother Nature, once they went outside and this wasn't recorded at that time, actually was participating in the fight until he was getting the shit knocked out of him. And then of course that's when everything was being recorded at that point. So apparently after they go outside and fight, and Brother Nature just gets completely obliterated, and you know, we've seen that video, okay? And I can't show the video because it got struck. Actually, in the video that I put up yesterday, it was copyright claimed. I don't know how that's possible, but that's ridiculous. I'm not sure what the whole deal is with that, but Brother Nature didn't want to fight, right? You know, he's so peaceful. He would never cause a problem here until he runs back into the store and throws a punch and actually reattacks and reignites the whole thing. Which is crazy because I defended him, and I said that this doesn't even logically make sense for him to do, because it really fucking doesn't. This doesn't even make normal sense. Like, what person, after going outside and getting completely, you know, emasculated on video, and having your head stomped and kicked like that, would say, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back inside and try and reignite this whole situation. That didn't even make sense, but he did. He went back inside and continued the fight. Now here's the thing, when he went back inside, he actually attacked the fighter's cousin. So he didn't even attack the guy that he was fighting. At this point, he attacked a bystander. This pussy didn't even attack the person that he was actually there combating with. He attacked someone who wasn't even fighting him. And this is where he claims that he got jumped, okay? This is where the claim is that he got jumped. He started a fight with two different people and got his ass beat. Had he never went back into the building, this never would have happened. And I feel stupid for even defending him in the first place, but it didn't even like logically process that this would even happen because it did not make sense. But it's crazy that now all the security footage is out and everything, that, guess what? It turns out that he was the problem. And for everyone who's still like, oh, but Optimus, there's no way that he could have done anything building up to this. Well, guess what? Here is some more leaked footage in which he threatens the lives of both of these people in the moments leading up to this whole thing.
Dead man.
So after he essentially started this entire thing, because he got in this guy's face, keep in mind, this guy was sitting down eating his meal, he was recording him because he was acting like a complete idiot in this place. He then, of course, at this point, pulls out his phone to record his perspective, right? And then says, dead man, dead man. You don't go around saying that to people, regardless of the context. You don't go around saying that people are dead men, especially people you've never met, unless you want something like this to happen to you. At even the worst, something even worse could have legitimately happened to him. You say that to the wrong person, you can end up being killed. So this whole time building up to it, he was the problem, okay? And people, they like to keep pointing that the floor was all trashed and the building looked destroyed and everything, as this being post-fight. Well, as you saw in that security footage, leading up to the fight, the place was completely trashed anyway. This place is just apparently disgusting looking on the inside. I don't know. Even then, like, no one cleans this place up actively throughout the day. Like, what are the employees doing? I don't know. No restaurant should ever look like this. Yeah, garbage apparently was just laying about even before the fight. So this is proof that this was before the fight. Now here is another piece of evidence that this is before the fight. Wang, who is another creator here on the platform, makes really good content by the way, pointed out the hands on the clock, okay? Now this is some just solid detective work, okay? Now on the left is after the fight. Like, that's after the second clip of the fight where he was quote-unquote jumped right and had the drinks thrown in his face and everything. Now on the right is when this whole thing happened, right? This is before everything happened, okay? Now you'll see that a couple minutes has passed before and after. So from the right to the left, before and after. a few minutes has passed. All that really proves is that this happened beforehand and that, once again, he was just being problematic and threatening them and just being a douchebag. Now here's the thing. Was everything that he got 100% justifiable? Not exactly. I mean, the ass whipping, yes, he asked for that. You know what I'm saying? He literally asked for that. Like, he challenged him to go outside. He got in his face and everything, like, just created a problem in that entire establishment, went back in and attacked them a second time. Maybe all the kicks and stuff while he was down to his head, a little bit excessive, I can say, maybe wasn't the best move. But at the end of the day, you don't go around doing shit like that. Like, you're not gonna see me go into a restaurant and pull a move like this. It's just not gonna happen. Now, with that being said, I've heard that the police actually ended up showing up. That's what I'm hearing. It's not 100% confirmed, but what I have heard is that the police showed up to the scene and that they ruled the entire thing a self-defense. Because at the end of the day, Brother Nature was being belligerent. He ended up re-attacking them. He engaged the entire fight and everything. The employees tried blocking him out of the restaurant and everything. Like, he clearly was not welcome. He was challenging people in the restaurant. He was a threat. Florida has, like, I don't know, I think they have pretty strict self-defense laws. I'm not 100% sure about everything. You know, I'm not a lawyer, but that's what I'm hearing. It's not 100% confirmed, but I do believe that that is what happened, considering what I've heard. But I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, given what we've seen, I would not be shocked if that's what happened. But at the end of the day, like, when you looked at this dude's profile and you seen like all this shit where he's like talking about how he peddled drugs and all this just ignorance, you know, it would not have been a surprise at first if this was just a big clout chasing move. But it's just nuts how quickly this whole thing turned, and it turns out that Brother Nature pretty much flipped this whole thing on its head so he could get, everyone to feel sorry for him and get some sympathy when he's the one who provoked pretty much the whole thing. Also, just a little side note, not really the most important thing of all time here. Brother Nature actually blocked Keemstar on Twitter because Keemstar wanted to interview him and get his side of the story, because he did actually interview the guy who beat his ass, and he wanted to get his side of everything so he could have a complete story on the whole thing from both sides. And apparently Brother Nature said that if he reported on the story, they could not be friends and he was gonna block him on Twitter, which is weird because if you've been victimized, right, and like you want your story out there and you want people to understand like that you've been wronged, why would you act that way? You would act that way, I would understand, like if you did something wrong. I mean, if you did something where you're in the wrong, acting that way and blocking people and not wanting to tell your story, yeah, I would totally get that that's what you would do. But yeah, if you did something where, you were in the wrong and you would incriminate yourself if you had to tell your side of the story, I would totally understand why you would refuse that. But yeah, just a lot of things to consider, man. It's just crazy how quickly this whole thing switched up, and wow, it switched up quick. But thank you guys for watching. I'm glad I could correct this one and just talk about it a little bit more. I'm glad everything came out. If there is any more updates to this story, I will let you guys know in a follow-up video. Make sure to like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on my channel. Follow me over on Twitter at @SubToOptimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates over there. It's a surefire way to get notifications of all my newest content. Join the Discord down below. Lots of great things going on down there as well. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, just shaking his head, man, and signing out.